Hello and welcome to I'm the Best Mom. I trust you all are keeping well and staying safe. Every Thursday, we are with a new topic, and today, I'm the Best Mom, where we are committed to make your motherhood a joyful experience. I'm the Best Mom brings you a collective knowledge and right kind of information from specialized doctors and experts. Now, how a doctor thinks and how you think. And we always carry our butterfly effect because every life is precious. And cover page cover story comes with some answers. Children health, one of the most common topic for parents. And do you feel your child is struggling from behavioral or developmental, psychological or physiological problem? Therapist may help your child to cope up with those problems. In this special edition of Cover Page Cover Story, we are discussing various factors that are affecting the behavioral development, psychological and the physical health of children. Today, it's an honor to have Dr. Sadasivan Sitharaman, and we will be discussing on the myths and the facts related to therapy in children. It's an honor to share more about Dr. Sitharaman. Dr. S. Sitharaman is the Professor Pediatric Medicine in charge Child Development Center, Child Neurodevelopmental Division in charge State Newborn Care Resource Center, Coordinator, Journal Reference Center for CLMC, Sir Padampat Mother and Child Health Institute, SMS Medical College, Jaipur. Dr. S. Sitharaman is member, National Consultative Committee for APNC, member Research Committee with RUHS, member Research Review Board at SMS Medical College. Part of so many other accolades. It's an honor to invite Dr. Anuj Rastogi sir to carry on the session with Cover Page Cover Story today to uncover the myths and facts when it comes to the therapy in children. I welcome you, Dr. Sitharaman and Dr. Anuj sir.
Thank you, Deepmanji, for your kind words, and it is my pleasure. And in fact, this is unbelievable. I'm taking an interview for such a legend, and this is one of the lifetime dream which is coming true today. And I'm able to ask few questions from sir. When I started my practice, and I was struggling to teach parents or to convince them for a multidisciplinary approach for any disease. There are those who are chronic disorder or those disorders those where medicines are the just part of the treatment. So be it autism, be it cerebral palsy or ADHD or some psychological issues. So at that time, if I ask them to go to psychologist, they will leave me. They think I have tagged them. There is some problem with the child. I mean, he's mentally aberrated. While it was not the case, and I used to send patient for cerebral palsy to my physiotherapist, but they were not ready to go, and they want everything on medicine. So it took many years to convince them for multidisciplinary approach. Sir, I welcome you on this platform, and I will. I want you to please explain us what is therapy and what are the therapies which are approved by our Indian Academy of pediatrics which are useful for children, because parents are too much confused. Somebody asks them to go to physiotherapist, somebody asks them to go to occupational therapist or neurodevelopmental therapist. So there are a lot of confusion in that.
Thank you, Dr. Anuj, and thank you, our organizer, I am Best Mom, to give me the opportunity to interact with you all. I think what Dr. Anuj has brought about is a very, very common scenario with most of the doctors who are trying to explain to the parents that they need something more than the medicines. See, the most unfortunate part of the thinking in the parents are that they need a very quick solution to their problems regarding to their child. And most of them, unfortunately, feel that medicines just give some medicines and the child should be all right. That is the way they go about it. And that, sort of brings about a certain block in the minds of the parents in regarding to anything being offered other than medical management. And if you, I distinctly remember one of my children who does not require medications, and I referred him to our therapist. She said, Doctor, do you think the child would be okay without medicine? Now, see, that is the kind of philosophy we had to overcome. And unfortunately, Anuj, what is happening is this puts up a lot of responsibility on the doctor to start counseling. And actually, counseling starts there itself, because treatment is simply anything which we do with intervention with medicines or surgery or something. Therapy is what we're trying to do without them and trying to solve certain issues regarding whether it's about a physical disability or a psychological problem which we're handling. What you have correctly pointed out is the concept regarding their apprehension in going to a clinical psychologist is very high. They feel, is my child actually mentally retarded, or is he abnormal, you know, um, from his cognitive point of view. They rarely understand that the therapist is actually going to help them to understand the behavior of the child. Yeah. And I really sort of feel that some of the parents, especially now that we have very nuclear families coming in here, and they do not have actually a very good guidance from some of the elder people in the family or in the community. And that also is a major drawback for these young parents to understand that my what I am doing with my child is normal or abnormal. Is the wrong? So if you do tell them that you need some help, a counselor, they would not. They are very diffident in accepting that recommendation from a doctor. What will the counselor do? And actually, clinical psychologist is the one who is basically trying to see if the child requires any kind of a modification in the behavior, or suppose let's take a child with a uh, cerebral palsy. People tend to believe that cerebral palsy, where the child is a spastic child, require just some treatment, some surgery, some medicines, and some exercises. That's all. But one has to understand the child who is a otherwise intelligent child who is trapped in a body like that does feel very frustrated when the child cannot move, and he finds that he wants to do so many things, too many things to explore, and with that frustration leads to some degree of anxiety, even depression in some of these children. And that has to be tackled by the clinical psychologist who can understand, pick up that the child is actually depressed. Sometimes the mothers keep on saying, my child is not eating very well. Well, is he not eating well on account of some medical problem, or is it because he is depressed? It is true. Some of the children have, if you are very young children, who have childhood depression also. Now, who picks it up? It's a clinical psychologist who, by the way of talking with the child, understand the body cues and understand the way the child interacts. They understand the child has got some issues in depression, and they try to handle that. And they can help the parents to understand the child better. In fact, These therapists are the ones who are basically trained to make the parent understand the child better, whatever them, whether it is the physical abilities or whether it is the mental abilities. That's why I take it. So most of the parents do accept that and they go ahead with it. But I do recommend to all the doctors and the parents to definitely visit your doctor again after you have visited with the therapist, because the therapist actually, the doctor can reinforce your thought process, and so that you have confidence in what the therapist is going to do. Yes. Yeah. Is it okay to answer?
Right, sir.
Yeah.
Right, right, right. So, what they when we ask them to go to a counselor, they immediately ask us, "You tell us how what to be tell, what to be told to the child. We will tell."
हाँ.
Immediately they are dismissive. They will say, "We will teach him." हम बताएंगे इसको, आप बता दीजिए कैसे समझाना, हम समझा देंगे. Or they always feel because they do not want to go. They come to us या तो ये कहेंगे कमजोर है, इसकी दवाई टॉनिक लिख दो.
हाँ.
They don't understand where we are trying to motivate them and what are the long-term repercussions of these type of therapies or long-term effect. Because sooner the better you start. If you start early, then there are less wiring in the brain of child and they can modify. They will have better pattern of thought process or they have better neuronal pattern. And if we talk about cerebral palsy, they are motor problems. So nerve connections and by physiotherapy you can prevent contracture formation. So, but parents उस phase में जब वो शुरुआत में होते हैं, they don't accept this. They accept when their child is lagging behind from other children.
It is very true, Anuj. Actually, what happens is it has been a really uphill task when we are trying to bring about parents to understand the child's problems and catch them very early. The parents have to really understand this point that no small problem should be neglected. Huh? If they get a smallest slightest doubt, they should consult the doctor concerned in regarding to the nature of the problem. Even if suppose for example bedwetting, they have to really talk to the doctor whether it is okay, is it normal, do we have to do something, because sometimes they come late, because what is happening is that they get an advice from other sources, you know, family. Oh, this child is very small, he'll grow out of it, this and that. No, that is not to be done. You should have the doctor in total confidence. Yeah. And what the doctor says is always in the for the best interest of your child. He doesn't have the mind to say that you go to that particular therapist or do that, because he is finding that this particular problem would be handled this particular person who can deliver the therapy. For example, a counselor, psychological counselor. Now, that lady or a person would be able to help the child in a manner which probably Dr. Anuj and myself cannot handle it, because they need a lot of counseling. We have to sit through it. You know, you have to talk to the child. You have to observe the child 2 or 3 times in different situations. This is what the counselor is able to pick up, and they really pick up these things. Then they interview the parents. Now, actually, as the doctor is concerned, we are not in a position to give so much of time, fortunately. And the counselor is able to really bring about a whole story regarding the child's development. And for that, if you are able to, if you rely on them, it's only for the purpose that they are able to understand and pick up the child's things and make the parents understand how to go about handling the child. Very, very simple issues. There'll be umpteen number of things. The child is crying excessively. Child is very irritable. Child refuses to eat. Child is able to sort of throw tantrums in the supermarket. Now, I may tell you a few things, but that may not go into it. But if a counselor sits around and tells you which exactly how to go about handling the situation, that takes a lot of time. And not only that, counselor is also going to help you in trying to sort of overcome that situation. And I tell you, those parents who have followed the advice of the counselors have been able to really being very comfortable. Yeah. So when we doctors are actually going to tell you, if Dr. Anuj is going to tell you, go to this therapist for a activity, he means that yes, you will have to spend more time and with a person who is qualified to handle each and every aspect of that problem. And if you neglect that, then I know we will have total patients, total confidence on Dr. Rastogi's treatment. But that doesn't mean um he is going to solve all your problems. When he feels that one particular problem is to be taken care of by another person, then one has to heed that advice. So when you go to a doctor for any consultation, go with the full faith that whatever he is going to advise you, whether it is medicine, whether it is surgery, whether it is a therapy in form of whether it is psychological or physical therapy or whatever the situation calls for, then you go by that advice into 100% because he's picked up something and that he is interested in knowing. If you ignore that, now the only problem with not listening to such kind of advice is that sometimes the parents delay the diagnosis, delay the management, and they come with certain complications. And that is the problem which we feel very hurt about. Because we don't want, because it is very clear that any problem solved as early as possible would better give you better results. We clearly say that stitching time saves nine. It stands true. You start very early, remove your doubt. It may be very well that it may be absolutely normal thing also. We would you come with a problem, we may simply tell you, no, this is absolutely within the normal for the age. Don't worry, fine. But let doctors as such help you to understand that this is the situation. Yeah. But if Dr. Anuj or myself tell you to go to some person, you better go there. Because the reason why you have to go there is because we feel there is something not okay. And that has to be assessed and properly managed. And the earlier you do, the better.
Right.
Yeah.
So which all conditions can be managed with the clinical proven therapy?
Well, the problem with now here is one other very difficult question for the parents to understand. Sometimes one diagnosis is made by the doctor concerned and his team, then he recommends a particular therapy, for example. Then, unfortunately, there'll be some advice from other sources, or now, of course, people have started using the Google their condition and find out what things are available, and they throws up umpteen number of therapies, you know, which may not be holding uh, which are not exactly proven also, but they sound very exotic. And sometimes the therapies are so well advertised, uh, with even supportive evidence of some case scenarios, that parents are drawn into it. When sometime when they're especially been told that your child is in such a position that uh, total treatment is not possible, but some therapies can help you to overcome this condition. So they are drawn into some kind of very exotic lines of treatments which are being not been clearly documented to have anything of value. They spend a lot of money. We have seen quite a parents spending a lot of money on therapies which have been promulgated by some of those people who are not really qualified to answer that. So I strongly recommend that rather than if you are intending to uh, take up a therapy, do keep your doctor in the loop because he knows that which part therapy is exactly going to help and which does not really give any benefit. So if he says that, well, this particular therapy may not be useful or it is not found to have good this thing, because sometimes what happens is really, some therapies can harm and people spend a lot of money because they have been advised by some source, or they have seen some advertisement somewhere, and they go about practicing that, and they come with the complications. I don't want to alarm by giving any examples on that, but you really land up in real trouble. So the safest possible thing is, even if you have come across some therapy which you feel is likely to benefit your child, definitely seek the consult, ask your doctor to comment on that. And if he says yes or no, then go ahead, do it, isn't it? Otherwise, you are likely, for example, let's say, uh, we take the example of an autistic child. Yeah. In an autism situation where there's a lot of, it usually picks up by speech problems, speech is delayed. Yeah. Or the child is not able to interact socially. In our conditions, we have found that, especially during the COVID times, many of the children actually were so glued to their net and TV and mobiles and everything, they actually started interacting very amongst that mechanical devices rather than among the children. This is one of the drawbacks of this pandemic. And some of the suddenly my child is started not does not speak to me now. He's doesn't even speak. He's keeps on speaking to himself. Now, just moving them away from the devices has brought them to start speaking on their own. Yeah, that's the kind of thing. So we have to understand the child very well. Now, in our autism, there's one condition which has a lot of problems it's a neurodevelopmental problem, and lot of therapies are there in the market. Yeah, some have been qualified, researched well, which have been shown to prove an effect. Yeah, maybe an ABA therapy which can help the child. Yeah, but if you go to one therapist who is saying that I can make your child speak, that is not the issue. It's a doctor who is trying to tell you that which area of the development the child is to be subjected for therapy. Yeah. Otherwise, you will land up in all kinds of things. For example, someone will say, "Oh, this particular diet will help the child very well." Now, if it is not proven, then you are going to land up in a lot of problems. So, any treatment regarding any aspect of this disease or condition, I would say, would be better answered by the doctor who can guide you that this particular treatment form of therapy is better recognized for this line of management. He throws a severe tantrum. Yeah, he doesn't listen to you. He doesn't communicate with you. Now, how you're going to actually go about handling this child will be a job of a clinical psychologist or a behavioral therapist who is going to tell you that how to ensure the child comes into the fold. And what treatments are there? There are numerous other treatments. I would not like to comment upon that, which are exotically signed, like they put a magnet therapy or electrical therapy or something like that, or some exotic medications which are supposed to stimulate the brain. No, that is not acceptable, because nothing has been proven to enhance the activity of the brain except pure interaction. If you interact with the child, pray with the child, interact with the child, that's the best form of therapy that parents can get. Yeah, that is what we say. The quality time should be spent with the child. The parenting has to be the most important concept, which will solve many issues. Because I normally tell my parents of such children that the parent, the mother, is the one who is the best therapist. Yeah, who understand, who is 24/7 with the child, who understand every nuances of the child's behavior, and when she is able to be when she is able to sort of guided on how to go about helping a child, she'll prove to the best therapist as possible. Yeah.
So how parent can identify there is a need of any specific therapy? Or say, for example, if we find a change in a child's behavior, when is the right time to seek the advice or seek the treatment?
um, there have been a lot of efforts from our government as well as our Academy of Pediatrics. We have actually now start coming out with parental guidelines which are very useful. People can log into the our website of our Indian Academy of Pediatrics. You get some guidelines in the how to go about it. And some of the doctors like Dr. Anuj who have brought out small videos to explain certain issues regarding what problems are there. Why it is so that every child, whether see every any child who has had a problem at the inception, right at birth, definitely we'll consider it to be a high risk child. He has to be monitored very closely for his physical and mental development. But that does not exclude that every child born should not be monitored. We have certain charts in every what we call the child book. So parents usually would are only bothered about weight of the child. If the slightly older he is कि लंबा नहीं हो रहा है, बढ़ रहा नहीं है. But no, physical growth, physical weight is not the only concern a pediatrician would have. You would also want to have how the child behave. What is his sleeping rhythm? How does he interact with other children? Now, these are the things he has to pick up. So, we have certain very pictorial way of demonstrating what a child does at every age of the child. Now, normally, we take the ages of 6 months and 9 months and 1 year. Every pictorial this thing is there. Is the child sitting properly at the time? Is he holding his neck? Is he started saying mama and dada? Does he listen to your voice? Yeah. Now, for example, let's take autism again as an example. Interaction is not there, but one of the major clues is does he respond to his name when called, which normally takes by around 9 months to 1 year. Yeah. So if by 1 year, if the child is not responding to your own name and the child is not deaf, then you better think the child has got some symptoms about autism. You have to consult. So this is a red flag sign. We call these alarming signs. And these are mentioned in most of the child care books that what should a child develop. Now, every parent who is really concerned about child development should monitor what my child is doing. And if you find the child is not there, he should consult his, immediately bring his this to the attention of his doctor concerned, rather than consulting the neighbors or the family members. Because family members will say, अच्छा बच्चा बोलता नहीं है, कोई बात नहीं, बोल लेगा, अभी तो छोटा है, जिसका बाप भी नहीं बोलता. Yeah, that's a very common way of saying it. So the mother is very reassured, sitting back, saying, oh, इसको बाप भी नहीं बोलता तो ये भी नहीं बोलेगा, बाद में बोलेगा. Now that is not the way you have to look at it. So you one has to the moment नहीं कहा ठीक है बाप नहीं बोलता कोई बात नहीं, but I have a concern because my book says that the child should have started speaking some words. So you bring it to the notice of the doctor, and now it's the doctor's total responsibility to ensure that your child is growing normally or not. So the child can be monitored by the parents, and the moment they find that the development of the child, according to the so-called milestones, what we call, are not being achieved, then they should reflect. I have some of the parents who come back late to me at the age of 2 years, the child is not walking. खड़ा भी नहीं होता अभी. Now, why didn't you come earlier? So, हम तो सोच रहे थे साहब खड़ा हो जाएगा, थोड़ा कमजोर है, शरीर से कमजोर है, वजन भी कम है, तो हो सकता है ये खड़ा हो जाएगा बाद. Now, this child we have lost some time, precious time. So, always ensure that the child does not develop according to the stated milestones or developmental this thing which are given everywhere. Many of the cards brought out by even the government, the Mamta card and all that, they bear certain developmental milestones there and how to see whether the child is growing normally. Just have a look at it and see if any deviation is there, then definitely consult your doctor. Now, that is very important to recognize. That's how you pick up. Don't rely on checking whether my child is, got a problem by consulting your relatives and friends and all. No, they may or may not be correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you think there is that is true about the classified disorder like autism, cerebral palsy, or ADHD,
Yeah.
or sometimes depression or bipolar disorder? But otherwise, also in the normal children, problems are more. regarding walking, regarding sitting, regarding eating, because mother focuses always on feeding her child. And what you must also observing there is a delay in speech also, because they are not knowing how to move their tongue. Even today also, one child came to my clinic and who is not chewing his food side by side, since he's 3 year old and he's not chewing, otherwise he's developmentally normal. And so his speech was also delayed, and he's not having the correct vocabulary for his age. So do you think there is some change in the society, like children are lesser in number, so all the family members, they are holding them in their lap and they are not letting them to develop themselves, or they are disturbing the developmental part?
Very, very correctly put, Anuj, actually. So the thing is, we are becoming very over involved sometimes in the care. Yeah. No, I don't blame the parents. You know, बच्चा सुबह से कुछ नहीं खा रहा तो खाना तो मिलेगा ही, तो कैसे खिलाएं? साहब उसको हम बाहर दिखाते हैं या टीवी दिखाते हैं, और टीवी दिखाते हैं और फिर इसके मुंह में डालते रहते हैं. Yeah. So what happens is child is watching the TV or a mobile phone. आजकल तो मोबाइल लगाते हैं हाथ में, हैं? और उसके मुंह में ठूसते रहते हैं खाना. Now that is not the way the child has to learn. Every behavior in the child is a learned behavior. How does he learn? By looking at other people. And where does he look? जब उसको खाने के टाइम में उसने दूसरे को खाते हुए देखा नहीं है. He has not seen other people eating it. I normally advise to my parents of 2 to 3 years old, if they are showing that their child does not eat well, I said, किसी के सामने बिठा के खिलाओ. Let one adult share the dinner table with the child. रोटी दाल में डाल के खाना है तो उसको कैसे खाना है वो जानता है. वो जब देखता है कि ऐसे खाते हैं तब वो खाता है, नहीं तो उसका ही एक once you make some kind of a pasty thing with that spoon and then push it in the child's mouth, he never learns to eat well. So those parents who have introduced the child to self-eating as early as possible have never had a difficulty. There's another issue is how much the child should be eating. I have found that there is definite phases of good eating and less eating. I think it's kind of a biorhythm sort of a thing. Sometimes the children they'll find will be eating one particular foodstuff for some time. So he has been eating bananas for 1.5 bananas every day. Now he stopped eating it totally. Now this pattern sometimes happens. These children, some of the children would be eating one particular food for some time and then they suddenly switch off and switch to some other food. So how do you go about it? You keep on offering the child all the appropriately nourishing food and allow him to make the choice. Rather than considering one of the major mistakes committed by gay food, I think is very good. That's the mother says. So he should be eating it. He should be drinking 3 glasses of milk because he requires it. Without the milk, how can he grow? Now that kind of an attitude has to be, taken off. The mothers have to offer all the nutritious food to the child and let him or her decide on which food he likes and eats. Obviously, you are not going to offer them Maggie. Yeah? I'm not talking about Maggie. I'm talking about nutritious homemade food. Yeah. So you keep on giving that, then child is able to do it. They are and then another group set of children are there who are very pecky eaters, who eat small quantities at a time. They don't like eating a bowl full of things. So what do I tell them? Give them more frequently. It's just a passing of time. The child will get over it. He'll eat. The mother sits with a bowl and is decided that she has to eat this bowl full. And if he's a pecky eater, he is going to eat number of times, but the quantity would be small. But and when you assess this physically, you find his weight gain is absolutely normal. So that's one issue one has to take care. Yeah.
What is your call on walker? Because parents are so in so much of hurry, they want their child to start walking at immature age. Because one to walk and two to talk is the norms of what we know and
Yeah.
what we follow. But they put them into walker at 9 months of age or 8 months of age, and they feel very happy about it. I
Walker
give
is a
them high chair, but I don't recommend walker to them. What is your call on walker, sir?
Walker is a big no. I usually tell my parents that if someone has gifted you a walker, please put it in the loft. Okay? Don't use it. Walker is a big, 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 big no. Capital no. There are two or three things. And the worst thing is if the child falls from that. Yeah. Whatever type of walker you have, best designed walkers, there is always a tendency for a 9 to 10-month-old child to pick up a things which has fallen from its walker. A toy, for example. Suppose it has fallen out. It will just look over the walker to pick it up and flip. He flips it. Or there is a level difference between the floor, carpet or something comes in, flips. And what happens is, usually, if a child from your hand, yeah, your mother is holding the child and he falls from your hand, he will protect himself by putting the hands and legs like that, sides. But in Walker, what has happened is he's been trapped. His legs are trapped. And when he falls straight head down and hurts his head. And that is the worst possible scenario. And the second thing is, which we have discovered, and that's why you brought out a notice for all my parents also. Parents feel that I have to discourage by telling them in a very morbid terms, ये एक तरह की बैसाखी है. These are like crutches. Because child is able to move the limbs very well. So you will find that when you are working, the mothers normally say, it's very convenient. I am doing my kitchen work. उसको उसमें बिठा देते हैं, इधर घूमता रहता है. So easy for her. But what is going to happen? The child legs are moving very fast. His upper body development is fine, but the hip area, yeah, is not developing as fast as it should. Now everyone is doing all kinds of aerobics and yoga and for development all muscles. Now this child, if you leave him on the ground, he will develop all his muscles very well. Will be able to pull up himself from the sitting position, everything. Now those children who are in the walkers, their hip girdle muscles are not very well developed for some time. So when you take them off, put them on, they keep sitting. So I have seen some of these children coming with a delayed walking. And that's one of the major concerns. So I said that it's just like a Baisakhi. Don't use that walker. Let him move around on his own. If he gets up on his own, he is developing his muscle strength normally. And he will not get hurt anytime. Yeah. A walker it's a big no for walkers.
What about some high chair? Using as a feeding chair, sir. I love high chair. I recommend high chair left and right.
Yeah.
But nobody understand high chair here, and they always want to go for walker.
See, I usually tell the parents that imagine that you are like a giant in front of the child. Yeah. Just to threaten them, I normally tend to say that you are sitting there and some 6'4" tall person comes to you and said, Madam, आपका नाम क्या है? Would you be very comfortable or will you be threatened? I say yes. Most of the mothers say yes. Rather than a person who comes and sits by your chair and says, आपका नाम क्या है? So a child whom you are looking down onto is likely to feel very threatened because for him, your size is huge and you are like a giant. So whenever you are trying to interact with the child, always interact with the child at the eye level. यदि बच्चा खड़ा है, छोटा सा है, तो बैठ जाओ. Sit on the floor, kneel and then interact with him. Eye to eye contact होना चाहिए. उसी level पे. He doesn't feel threatened. ये खड़े होके उससे बच्चे से बात करेंगे तो he feels threatened. Same is when we are using a high chair. Putting the child on a chair, he is in contact with you, not in the niche. So the basic precaution you have to take when you are talking to a child and do not want to threaten him by your physical presence, just sit down and talk to him eye to eye level. You're feeding him eye to eye level. Uppar se nahi, eye to eye level. And that will become non-threatening to the child. Absolutely.
Right, sir. So what are all, if we talk about therapies, what are all clinically proven therapies available in our country?
Well, and it depends upon the what exactly the problem is with the child. Yeah. For example, we take cerebral palsy for that matter. Yeah. In cerebral palsy, therapies are numerous. We do a physical therapy, physiotherapist, who is actually trying to strengthen the muscles of a child because a spastic child is not able to move very frequently. Then we have an occupational therapist who tries to adapt the child's whatever power or capacities to do all the functions properly. Yeah, he wants to pick up a glass. He may not be able to pick up in a perfect manner, but if he picks up in a different manner, that's also accepted. That's what occupational therapy is going to tell. Then there is a way of handling the other therapies. For example, the child needs balance. So some of the children would be asked to ride a pony, घोड़ा, घोड़े पे, what hippotherapy what you call. घोड़े पे, natural घोड़े में क्या होता है? The घोड़ा has a tendency to ensure that the person does not fall, and it maintains the balance depending on the person sitting on the ghoda. So some people have tried giving, horse riding for these children. Same way, the pool. In the water hydration of pool therapy, they will say that pool therapy is very good. Yes, because it helps the child to exercise in a resistance of the water very comfortably, and it is very enjoyable. See, the problem with all the therapies are it should be enjoyable. Only then the child accepts it. It should not be painful or traumatic. I've seen many of the children not going for therapies because it becomes a traumatic experience for them. Therapy should not be traumatic. It should be an enjoyable experience for the child. So when he is doing this, then they comes for walking, then comes for the speech. If he has a problem, now speech has a very complex mechanism. It's also related to the feeding. In fact, we call them that the speech and language pathologists actually, because they are going to read not only the speech, but also how to roll the tongue, chew, and swallow. So if the children have not developed good chewing and swallowing, are likely to have problems with the speech and articulation also. So they have to be, who is going to tell us? The speech therapist. These are the exercises you do so that you can roll the tongue very well, yeah, chew properly the food, and you will start speaking. Yeah, child is making all kinds of sounds. Now that's the kind of therapies which normally are known to help the children. Yeah, and there are actually when you are finding that if the child is bouncing, you want to have a balancing. You bounce the child on a trampoline. Some people say कैसे इसको balance बिठाएंगे. मैं तो इनफैक्ट कहता था कि जो चिल्ड्रन हु आर वेरी इन्फेंट्स उनको झूले में बिठा, जो ट्रेडिशनल अपना झूला होता था जो कपड़े का, दैट कपड़ा का झूला also gives the sense of vestibular stimulation, and the child is able to develop a sense of balance, and that's very important. So that is the type of therapies which we feel are comfortable.
I have taken a lot of your time, but my last question to you: sometimes parents feel how these therapies are going to work for their child. इससे क्या होगा? How to convince them and how to make them understand how they work, how these therapy works.
Yeah. It's very difficult, There are only two things. I found a group discussion of similarly parents of similarly affected children helps a lot. मेरे से ज़्यादा जो पेरेंट्स जिनके बच्चों को कुछ फायदा हुआ है उस थेरेपी से, वो जो साथ में मिलके बात करते हैं ना, तो वो मेरा आधा काम वो सॉल्व हो जाता है. Because when I am trying to convince a new parent that your child is going to benefit from this therapy. When he meets another parent who's sitting in an OPD and then discussing with that, and he says, "Oh yes, I did this therapy and it was very useful." I don't know, somehow they get more convinced by an equally affected parent rather than me. So a group session or two or three parents who are real motives, I normally tend to see that they are around when my clinic is on. उनको लास्ट में देखता हूँ मैं, तो वो आप बातें करते रहते हैं अपने बीच में, वो कहते रहते हैं हाँ मैंने ये कराया बहुत अच्छा है, ये दवाई भी बहुत अच्छी है, ये ट्रीटमेंट बहुत अच्छा है, फिनिश्ड, योर हाफ जॉब इज डन.
थैंक यू सर। आज आपसे हमने सीखा कि मल्टी डिसिप्लिनरी अप्रोच होनी चाहिए ज़्यादातर प्रॉब्लम्स के लिए, और वो एक टीम वर्क है। डॉक्टर्स का मल्टी डिसिप्लिनरी का मतलब एक टीम वर्क, और जिसका लीडर होता है आपका डॉक्टर, आपका चाइल्ड स्पेशलिस्ट, जो आपको गाइड करता है कि किसके साथ आपको क्या करना है, और उससे ही डॉक्टर को, आपको बच्चे के डॉक्टर को फॉलोअप लेना होता है कि वो बच्चा आपका सही इम्प्रूव हो रहा है या नहीं हो रहा, और दैट चाइल्ड इज इन द राइट हैंड एंड प्रोग्रेस इज गुड और नॉट गुड. Thank you very much for your time, and I will request Deepman, if there are any question in the question and answer box, please uh, ask one or two questions from sir.
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Sitaraman, sir, and thank you, Dr. Avish, sir. Sir, there are a few questions in the chat box.
Yeah.
The first question, though I don't have the name over here, is there a therapy for the behavioral management of a child who is 6 years of age? She's feeling guilty for everything.
Oh yes. See, any abnormal interaction of the child, yeah, you have to analyze क्यों वो हुआ है, huh? Because under if there is a guilt, there is always, if you go back on the history of the child, you will find out something has happened which has been a very traumatic episode. Yeah, I have found some of the parents from the children even accusing themselves for our father having got hurt. मैंने पापा को वो कुछ लेने भेज दिया था, चॉकलेट लेने, उनको चोट लग गई, तो आई एम गिल्टी अबाउट इट. So this is the job of a counselor to find out why the child is guilty. They can find out by interviewing the child, interviewing the parents, and you come out with ridiculous answers. I tell you, sometimes are amazing that the poor little 4-year-old is actually singing so much, yeah, or a 5-year-old is thinking so much, and we don't ये तो हम तो अक्सर कहते हैं बच्चा है इतना क्या सोचेगा. नहीं, बच्चे बहुत कुछ सोचते हैं और बहुत कुछ सोच के अपने अंदर ही रखते हैं, तो वो निकालना एक क्लिनिकल साइकोलॉजिस्ट का काम होता है. एंड यदि गिल्ट का सेंसेशन आ रहा है, द चाइल्ड हैज टू बी इवैल्यूएटेड कि क्या अंडरलाइंग क्या था प्रॉब्लम.
Thank you, Doctor. There is a question from Sonali Patil. She's asking, I'm Sonali. My son is 3 year 9 months old, detected by mild autism spectrum and hyper 2. His speech therapy is going on for the last 6 months. He's having issues like crying, shouting, not sitting, sitting tolerance, watching at fingers, spinning, clapping, less eye contact, etc. According to your opinion, whether he needs occupational therapy or not?
See, when he is quite distracted and getting over to all many of the things, is other than the thing, and he starts showing tantrums, then that we what we call is a sensory overflow. That is बहुत सारा sensory उसको issues आ रहे हैं, उसमें अंदर बहुत ज़्यादा एक तरीका of activity बढ़ रही है, and that child does require an occupational therapist to quieten down. किस तरह से उसको वो adjust कर सकते हैं, and because the occupational is going to ensure that जो भी उसका जो increased activity का कोई एक there should be some kind of an escape wall for the child so that he quietens down. They recognize that this child is hyperactive and he has got a sensory overflow. कई बार उनको textures के लिए पसंद आता है, they keep on rolling on textures, yeah, or they want to do some activity. So some of them have even been given spinners. I don't know if you have those you see the spinners, हाथ में पकड़ के घुमाते रहते हैं. So that kind of a thing, activity can help the child to release that need for any activity, yeah, excess activity, and that quietens down the child a lot.
Right, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you. There's a question from Sahalane. Dr. Anu, sir, may I put this question to you? There are 2-3 questions from her. She is, I believe, staying out of India and asking for, is there any assistance available by online for a speech therapy, and is it possible?
And this is possible in today's world after lockdown. There are so many people who are working on online. If she provide her email address, we can connect her to someone who can help her in speech therapy.
Certainly. And the second question from her, my 16-year-old son has autism. He's not on any medication, but he takes nutrition and supplements like omega and magnesium and probiotics. Am I on the right track? He gets very dreamy and become off at times. How do I reduce this problem?
Uh, that child require a lot of therapies. Omega-3 fatty acid works up to some extent, but you can't bank upon medicine only. As we were discussing, it is a multidisciplinary approach or it is a teamwork. She should seek some advice from neurodevelopmental therapist as well, and she should confirm his diagnosis from a good child specialist or developmental specialist, because most of the time whatever is labeled to the child is not correct, and especially in less than 5 year of age child, it is very difficult to ascertain. Even in our guideline also, we do not say less than 4 year of child is having ADHD or something like that. So it should be confirmed by a doctor also.
Right. Thank you so much, Dr. Anu sir and Dr. S. Sitharaman sir. It was really a great honor to have you today in the evening, and thank you so much for your valuable inputs, which is definitely going to be useful for many parents, many doctors who are been a part of today's. And thank you so much all the attendees today spending your evening with us. And let's spread the awareness of autism and the other neurological disabilities. So before we end today's session, a big thanks to you, sir, Dr. Sitharaman sir and Dr. Anu sir. And I'll be playing a message from Jaji. This is for next 3 minutes.
Oh, wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
रियो, वो कौन है?
अरे वो तो चिंटू है, अभी अभी यहाँ रहने आया है। अरे यार, उसे तो कोई बीमारी हो गई है, ऑटिज्म या कुछ।
ऑटिज्म? ये क्या होता है? आज हम सबको एक फिल्म दिखाने वाले हैं, तो अब देखिए, माय नेम इज खान।
एक बात याद रखना बेटा, इस दुनिया में सिर्फ 2 किस्म के इंसान हैं। अच्छे इंसान जो अच्छा काम करते हैं और बुरे जो बुरा।
मेरा नाम रिजवान खान है। खान, हो सकता है आप लोगों को मैं थोड़ा सा अलग लगूं। इसका ये मतलब नहीं कि मैं पागल हूँ, मैं बहुत इंटेलिजेंट हूँ। कोई नहीं बता पाया कि मेरे ऐसे होने की वजह क्या है। मैंने अम्मी को दिया वादा पूरा कर लिया, अपने लिए एक खुशहाल जिंदगी बना ली मैंने।
तो आपको ये फिल्म अच्छी लगी? हाँ। क्या आपको पता है इस फिल्म में जो बीमारी दिखाई गई है वो कौन सी है? उसे ऑटिज्म कहते हैं। ये बीमारी काफी स्पेशल है और इसके पेशेंट भी काफी स्पेशल होते हैं, जैसे मूवी में शाहरुख खान और हमारी कॉलोनी में चिंटू। डरो मत चिंटू, मैं तुम्हारे साथ हूँ। दोस्तों, इस बीमारी के बारे में बताने के लिए हमारे कॉलोनी में एक स्पेशल व्यक्ति आ रहे हैं, तो स्वागत कीजिए डॉक्टर अनुज रस्तोगी का।
प्यारे बच्चों, ऑटिस्टिक स्पेक्ट्रम डिसऑर्डर में जो बच्चे होते हैं बहुत स्पेशल हैं, बहुत डिफरेंट हैं और उनमें कुछ बच्चे तो बहुत टैलेंटेड भी हैं। उन बच्चों को बेटा अपने साथ लेके चलो, उन्हें अपने जैसा बनने में हेल्प करो। वो हमारे और आपकी तरह बात को नहीं समझते हैं। सोशल कम्युनिकेशन करने का तरीका डिफरेंट है और जितना जल्दी तुम उन्हें अपने साथ मिक्स कर लोगे बेटा, वो उतनी जल्दी ठीक होने लगेंगे, एडजस्ट होने लगेंगे। बच्चों, इनका बिल्कुल भी मजाक नहीं बनाना है क्योंकि इसमें इनका कोई कसूर नहीं है, इन्हें भगवान ने ऐसे ही बनाया है।
Thank you so much for the.
That's very nice. Dr. Anuj, really good.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
It was really nice. Great.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good night, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Yeah.